Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Research Insider podcast. Before I disclose our speaker for today, I would like to introduce you to Malaysian Bioscience Scholar, or MBIOS. Welcome to MBIOS. It is a student-led academic and inquisitive association that aims to serve Malaysian students in pursuit of bioscience careers all around the world. We are all about building a strong, connected bioscience community through our 5 pillars: connect, develop, experience, grow, and research. We bring people together, sharpen skills, and create opportunities through insightful talks, hands-on workshops, and networking events, both online and in person. Our mission is to inspire, educate, and push the boundaries of science while giving students a platform to collaborate and innovate. Now, what is Research Insider? It's basically our podcast that takes you beyond the lab bench and into the lives of researchers, with a special focus on the Malaysian science scene. This is a fresh, upgraded take on our previous live sessions, offering deeper conversations and exciting insights into cutting-edge research. While biosciences are at our core, we welcome scientists from all the different fields. Whether you're a postgrad, a researcher, or just someone who loves discovering how science shapes the world, this is where you will find inspiration, knowledge, and real stories from the people behind the research. So tune in, explore, and be a part of the conversation that drives the future of science. Shifting gears, today it is our absolute pleasure to have with us Chloe Chen Sze Yun, who is currently a clinical research associate at Acardia Life Science in Malaysia. She has a degree in industrial biotechnology with a strong interest in genomics, proteomics, and the biopharmaceutical industry. Hi, Chloe. How are you feeling?
Hi, I'm feeling good. Thank you for inviting me to this podcast.
Now, we are grateful to have you here today with us, and I'm very sure that with your talk and through your journey, you are definitely going to inspire so many people out there who are just walking the same path as you.
Yes, I hope so.
Of course. So, let's start with your journey. What first sparked your interest in biosciences? Was there like a defining moment that made you say, yes, this is what I want to do?
Definitely. So, in Malaysia, we have this biology subject when you have to choose during Form 4 in science stream. So in Form 4, biology was kind of long and boring lectures, like people, that's the normal perception of people to it. But to me, when I learned about mitosis, meiosis, and all those DNA stuff, it really sparked my interest. And from that point onwards, I knew what I really wanted to study, which is in genetics. So since Form 4, I already knew that I want to venture into genetics, and like Form 5, and then I did STPM, and then I went to public uni in Malaysia. So that was my defining moment in Form 4 that I wanted to do biosciences, and specifically in genetics. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Yes, I still remember when I was a student and I was going through studying mitosis and meiosis. That was really what sparked my interest too. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, it's
How
crazy.
it all works out. Yeah,
Mm,
amazing. So I see that you studied industrial biotechnology, right? Which sounds super
yeah.
futuristic. If you had to explain what you do in the simplest way to a group of curious high school students, how would you describe it?
I wouldn't say it's futuristic, but it's super cool lah. So, if I were to explain it like in one sentence, it's basically using biological systems. So biological system includes like cells, tissues, organs, or even like bacteria, or microorganisms, or even the human body sometimes. Ethics, right? So basically using these biological systems to produce something that is useful, whether be it a product, a process, or a system that can benefit to human. That's what I would say like in one sentence. But maybe it still sounds very vague. So let me give you an example. So like how penicillin works is that you take bacteria and then you produce it, and then you let it go through some culture, some fermentation, and then you produce penicillin. So in an essential, that bacteria is like a factory. So it's basically rethinking manufacturing or rethinking factories using biological systems. So that's what I would say, what what my field is, industrial biotech. Yeah.
Wow, that's super inspirational. Just since you brought up this topic of penicillin, do you know that it was like first discovered by mistake by it was
Yeah.
first discovered by mistakes because it was seen that something about this compound was like clearing off all the contamination that was present all around, and people just got really super curious and inquisitive about it, and that's how we have like all the antibiotics
Yeah.
today. It's so super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think that that story is really inspiring as well. That, science just happens sometimes.
Just happens
Yeah.
exactly. And when you least expect it, maybe that's when it truly blossoms. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really I can relate to it. Yeah. So how would you describe a typical day in your life, provided that you are a clinical research associate and you have done all these you have taken all these courses and how your life is? How would you describe a typical day in your life?
Typical day in my life involves a lot of like documentations, and I need to work on like ethics proposals. I need to work. Sometimes I need to work on budgeting for a clinical trials project. Oh, sorry. Let me just go back a bit. Being a clinical research associate is basically like overseeing documents, good clinical practice, having been trained in good clinical practice training, GCP, and also recruiting patients and taking care of clinical trials. So basically a day in my life consists of reviewing documents, or drafting documents as well, recruiting patients in the hospital. Sometimes I need to do that as well because we don't have dedicated study coordinators. And also sometimes I do a bit of budgeting for the clinical trials, but it's not a major part of my job scope. And also I need to be trained in GCP, good clinical practices. And yeah, that's about it. Because my company is a startup company, sometimes I help other departments also. So I'm a little bit involved in marketing as well. So I'm helping with like brochures, marketing slides, things like that. And I also help to translate difficult documents into simpler terms so that when I explain it to the patients or when I explain it to doctors that are working with us, it's easier to understand and they have some sort of material to support talking to the patients. Yeah, things like that.
That sounds amazing. I hope your company soars high and you achieve what you mean to achieve.
Yes, I
Um,
hope that too.
yeah, yeah. My best wishes for you. Since you talked about clinical trials, I was wondering, have you ever participated in one clinical trials?
Currently, I haven't had a chance yet because I only joined this company for three months, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
Yeah.
Super
Yeah,
new.
yeah, 3 to 4 months. So I haven't had the chance to join the clinical trials yet,
Mhm.
but I'm super excited because we actually have a few projects lining up,
Mhm.
and I really really hope that I can be part of it because even though my background is in biotechnology, I still believe that clinical trials is something that is really vital into translating research into commercial.
Mhm.
So I really strongly believe the power of clinical trials. So I really hope that I could one day be part of this movement, I would
Mhm.
say, or part of this program so that I can really contribute to medical and the science field.
That's great. Um, I don't know. There is like mixed feelings about clinical trials because many people they are kind of like unsure whether to participate in or not because it also comes with a bit of like a risk factor. There's a risk factor associated with it. So how would you describe a clinical trial to people who are, first of all, how would you describe a clinical trial to people? Because that's like very important before a drug gets developed or it's like they're out in the market. And why should people, more and more people, enroll in that kind of studies?
Basically, when I talk to people of what I do, right, as a clinical research associate, I always say like I'm kind of like a project manager for like experiments and things like that. So they'll be thinking like, what kind of experiments are you doing? Right? So they're always confused. So the simplest way that I found to answer them what is clinical trials is basically testing if the drug or the process works or not. So I really believe that clinical trials is really essential, that it could bring, sorry, let me configure my thoughts. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I think that clinical trials is really essential to people that really need those medications. Like we see clinical trials in gene therapy, we see clinical trials in drug manufacturing. Some now we even see clinical trials in like new testings, like such as a rare disease for newborn screening and things like that. So um, why I think people should enroll in clinical trials, and um, sorry, why I think people should enroll in clinical trials is because that these are data that could save a life, or maybe multiple lives, or even hundreds and thousands of lives. You'll never know. So although I understand there's risk factors in clinical trials, but I think one thing to take into consideration is that clinical trials is highly regulated, and there's highly trained professionals that are conducting these clinical trials. They're all trained. We have good clinical practices. We have ICH. Um, we have all these regulatory bodies that are watching over this clinical trial. So there will always be a risk in science. There will always be a risk in everything that you do. But if you don't take that risk, who is going to take that risk, you know? So I really believe that people should really enroll more into clinical trials so that they can save a life. You know, your data is precious. Your life is also precious to us also. You're not just like a number to us. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with you. There's so much truth in what you said. And as front row scientists and all, like as people who are involved in STEM field, I just feel it's up to us to educate the other people why it is so important, right? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So, Malaysia has like a growing biotech and healthcare industry, right? From your perspective, what are some of the most exciting advancements happening in Malaysia right now in biosciences?
Okay. So personally, my interest is in genomics
Mhm.
and proteomics and everything omics basically, because I really, when I was in university, I got the chance to do genetic sequencing, and I even got the chance to do it for my final year project. So I'm really, really, really interested in genetics, genomics, proteomics, all the omics, right? So, to me, the most exciting advancement is that Malaysia is actually, I wouldn't say forefront, but I would say Malaysia is really heavily investing into genetics and sequencing and proteomics and things like that. And these are the data that could actually help Malaysians. You know, recently our government launched a initiative. It's called My Genome. So basically, they're taking samples of Malaysians, and then they are sequencing the Malaysian genomics. The Malaysian population. And their genetics. And this is super, super cool for me. And I feel really proud of my country because we're establishing a genome population for our own people and for our own population in Malaysia, which is really, really exciting for me because I really feel that this data could help so many people. You know, we always say there's a research gap, there's knowledge gap, but one gap that I really, really want to close is the population gap. In research, because all the research are mostly done like in Western countries or like in other countries that have different genomic population compared to Malaysians. But once we have our genomic data baseline here, we can actually, you know, develop things that are tailored to Malaysians, because I have particular interest in precision medicine as well. I really believe that precision medicine is something that can change the world. Imagine the medicine is tailored to you personally, and the whole dosage, you know, all the side effects and everything can be reduced or increased based on your genomics, based on your genetics. So it's super, super cool that Malaysia government is leading this initiative. So this is the most exciting thing that I think is happening in Malaysia regarding biosciences, that we're going to have our own genomic database and population database. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. Wow, my mind is officially blown right now. I so wish I could just visit Malaysia and just witness this whole thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Um, so my next question would be like you have been involved in clinical research and genomics, right? Like fields that are shaping the future of medicine. And as you said, like personally, you are also interested in precision medicine.
Yeah.
Can you share an example of a breakthrough or project that made you feel, wow, this is why I love my field?
A breakthrough project. I think I would talk about my final year project, which is like what I mentioned just now with the sequencing. So what we actually did, what my title was actually is we're sequencing the bacteria that are in the gut microbiome of obese patients. So obesity is quite prevalent in Malaysia, and in my final year project, we're trying to tackle that problem. We're trying to see like if the composition of this gut microbiome actually influences obesity or not. So we have a few previously done research. There was a few cohorts. So there's the healthy one and the obese one, and then there's a few levels of obesity. But for my final year project, I only picked one of the categories, which is BMI about 25 to 30, if I'm not mistaken. So I took that cohort and I took the sample. So I cultured the bacteria and then I sequenced the bacteria that are inside that particular culture. And actually the conclusion of my research was a little bit inconclusive, but nonetheless, I found out that there were actually bacteria that could contribute to obesity and could also help reduce obesity. So it really comes down to like how do we eat? How do we influence our gut microbiome? So I would say diet really, 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 really is tied with obesity. Not just discard fatty food or whatever, but how you shape your gut microbiome can shape your body, can shape your life. So this is when I was doing this project, right, it really shaped my mind, like, wow, so this is what sequencing can do. This is what genetics do. This is what genomics can do. And now that I'm venturing into proteomics, which is my current company, I found out even more things. Wow, actually, proteomics is a real life snapshot because like your genetics won't change much. But proteomics is like a real life snapshot of like yourself. And that is what this company has taught me. So these are the two different fields that I feel like really inspire me to work more and really inspire me to go more towards precision medicine. And this is why I love my field. Yeah.
Wow, that's so inspirational. As you mentioned, obesity is like a huge problem in America as well.
Mm,
I still can remember when I came to America, I have bulked. I just need to put it out there, and it's like a huge problem, especially
yeah.
the way you said we need to program our gut microbiome, and that plays like a super important role in obesity and how we can regulate that by genetically programming those things. And
Yeah.
diet is like a huge part of all these things: what you eat, how much you eat, and all those stuffs.
Yeah.
That's a really important part that you talked about right now. So thank you for that.
Mm,
Um, but since we're talking about like people who are currently in STEM field can sometimes feel a bit intimidating, right? Especially for
yes.
students who think it's too hard or it's like not for them. So what would you say to young Malaysians who are interested but a bit hesitant to like take the leap?
Yeah. I think when people think about STEM, they normally think about the S and the E only, which is science and engineering. But I think people don't really think about mathematics, which is the M, and the T, technology. I don't think STEM field is only reserved for smart people only. I think STEM field are reserved for people that are curious, people that are research led, and people that want to know more about the truth behind our lives. I mean not behind. Wait, let me rephrase that. Sorry. I don't think STEM is for smart people only. They're not reserved for smart people only. They're reserved for people that are curious, that are truth seeking, and they want to know more about what happens in our lives and how to innovate to improve our lives. I don't come from a very smart background. When I was doing my STPM, which is like our pre-university, I only got a GPA of like 2.58, and the full marks is about 4. And then when I went into uni, I didn't get like super good grades as well, but like enough to go by. So I wouldn't consider myself as a very traditionally smart person. And I don't think that in STEM there's only research how do I put it? There's not only research jobs. There are a lot of other jobs that require your soft skills to be really, really good, such as in marketing, such as in sales, such as in science communication. These kind of things requires you to have some sort of science knowledge, but it's not heavily relied on like, oh, you need to do research, you need to do lab work, that kind of thing. So I don't think STEM that's why I said STEM field is not reserved for smart people. It's reserved for people that are curious, that are truth seeking, and they want to know more about what happens in our lives and to innovate to help our lives to become better. So at least to me, like I don't consider myself a very smart student. I think I'm more street smart than anything. But here I am being
But
a
look at you
clinical
now.
research.
Yeah. Part of the
Yeah,
company
yeah,
that's
here.
doing some groundbreaking work. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's what I
So
call steep
that's
rise.
yeah. So that's why I want to encourage the young Malaysians. Don't just be an influencer, be a knowledgeable influencer, be an influencer in STEM.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be an influencer now. But I also see the importance of science communication. So if you're in STEM field and if you feel like you can influence people,
Mhm.
be a STEM influencer. Yeah. That
That's
that's that's
so
the
important.
advice I have.
Yeah.
Mm.
Look, I myself am a graduate student now, and I understand that, okay, there's like this whole scientific part of it. You do experiments and then you do, but communication is a big, big, big part of it. If you can communicate
Yes,
what you are doing to a layman, if they don't understand what you're truly doing in the lab, then basically you doing science means nothing. If
that's correct.
people don't really get to know what you're doing and what breakthroughs are happening all around the world. So
Mm.
that's a great thing that you said. Science communication and talking to people and making them understand the importance of it is what is most important. That
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. There's often a perception that exciting science only happens in Western countries. Based on your experience, how do you see Malaysia's role in global bioscience innovation?
Mm. Honestly, I agree with your statement. Exciting science normally does happen in the western part of the world. But one thing that I want to highlight is that Malaysia has a diverse population. So like what I mentioned just now, the project about sequencing Malaysian genomes, right? Um, I don't think that you can really do that in other countries. I don't think that their population is that diverse compared to Malaysians. We have three major races. Like that is really rare. I wouldn't say there's none, but that's really rare to see in the western side of countries. So I believe the therapeutics and the things that we develop, like in Malaysia, could actually be more generalized because we have a diverse population. So we know that some medication can work on this type of people, some medication cannot work on this type of people. So I would say what we can innovate would be more generalized and could be used by more people in a sense. Yeah, so because sometimes Western data, when you translate it into an Asian context, sometimes it doesn't work very well. That's what I would say. I wouldn't say it's like useless at all. No, that's definitely not true. But I would say that when it translates to a Asian context, I would say that it loses its effectiveness lah along the way. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's so amazing. Um, Many people think of science as something that is confined to labs and textbooks, but it's everywhere around us, right? So, what's a surprising way bioscience is shaping our daily lives that most people don't realize?
Rising. Um, I would say that maybe now a lot of people know, but when I used to talk about what I do, right, as a biotech student, I always tell people, oh, biotech is contributing to the COVID-19 vaccine. So that's what I do. So that's a really layman way of explaining to people of what I do. So vaccines is definitely one way biosciences is changing our lives. But I think something that people don't realize is also personalized things. When we talk about genomics and we talk about precision medicine, personalized stuff. So I've seen like some companies, they do this, right? They analyze your gut microbiome, or they analyze like uh genetics, your personal genetics, and then they personalize supplements based on your gut microbiome, or they personalize supplements based on yourself. So that's really, really cool. Like you can, although it isn't medicine, but supplements is something to start with. You're personalizing your supplements. Maybe you don't have enough iron. Okay, so in one tablet, in one capsule, you have your daily dose of iron, calcium, and all those minerals that you need, and all the proteins that you need. And it's only in one capsule. You don't have to buy like multiple capsules and things like that. So I think that's something that's really cool that is shaping our lives, that we are moving into a era of personalization, that things are curated just for you. Yeah.
Exactly. Um, so lastly, for anyone listening who is considering a career in biosciences but isn't sure where to start,
Mm,
what's that one practical step they can take today to explore this field?
I see. Exploring this field means that you need to go out, right?
Mhm.
So don't sit. Okay, I wouldn't say like don't sit at home lah. What I'm trying to say is go out,
That's the
go
perfect answer. Yeah,
explore.
just go out.
Yeah, for
People.
for me, for me, because maybe I'm a people person, I love to join events and I love to join societies.
Mhm.
So when I was in my uni, right, I've joined like at least 7 to 8 or 9 societies.
Mhm.
It's not all in STEM. There are like cultural societies as well, my hobbies and stuff like that. So go meet people, go connect with people. And when you connect with people, be genuine, because people can know that you're just talking to them because you want an internship or you want a job, things like that. So when you go to events, when
Okay.
you go to meet people, be genuine, connect with them, understand what they are doing, and understand where they come from, their background and things like that. And I would say explore things that are out of your current studies. Like I'm doing biotech, right? Clinical research is not exactly like in biotech. Of course, it's related,
Mhm.
but I don't have a subject called clinical research, right?
Mhm.
But I'm still interested in clinical research
Mhm.
previously. I still learn it,
Mhm.
bits and parts of it in my study. So that's why I explore and I venture into clinical research when I started working.
Mhm.
So I would say one practical step is really to go out, to connect with people, to talk with people.
Mhm.
Even if you're an introvert, um
Just put yourself out
there's
there. Yeah.
yeah, just put yourself out there. There's always online, no? On LinkedIn, you can just
Yeah.
talk to people.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be times where people won't be nice to you. That's definitely because I have had that experience before.
Mhm.
But definitely there are always people that are willing to talk to you about their profession, about their lives, about their background. So I would say one really practical way to explore is go out, connect with people, and be genuine. Yeah.
Exactly, because there will be people who are not really interested in giving you or offering you that help, but then there are all those other people who are very much interested in helping you out, right?
Yes, correct, correct.
Okay, so with that, we conclude our today's session of Research Insider podcast. And I'm so grateful to you, Chloe, that you agreed to do this with us. And I hope that it was an inspirational talk for every brilliant young minds out there who are thinking of having a career in bioscience and STEM fields. And tune in, stick to us, and if you want to hear more of such inspirational talks, then stick to us. Malaysian Bioscience Scholars is there to help you navigate through all these things. So until then, if I'm not wrong, I'm saying this correctly, Selamat tinggal.
Yeah, okay. That we don't actually say that like in Malaysia, but it's okay, it's fine. Yeah. We actually just say bye.